This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Athletics.
Leaping at the wall, it's gone! A towering drive into center field by Rucker.
And 29 other MLB clubs.
A judgy blast. All right. Here comes the judge. Swung on, hit high, hit deep to right, away back into the second deck.
Bobby Witt Jr. becomes the first shortstop in Major League history to have two 30-30 seasons.
Shohei Ohtani starts the 50-50 club.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe, from humidors to walk-off dingers to Hall of Fame talk. We have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of A's Cast Live. We've got a lot going on today. You're going to love today's show. You're going to hear from Justin Sterner, who has not given up a run yet, reliever for the Athletics, the BYU Cougar. Jack Wilson, the father of Jacob Wilson, will be here at 3 o'clock, and then we'll have the Mark Kotsay show, brought to you by Folsom Lake Ford, coming up at 3:40. We have a wild, arguably the wildest game. Is it now over? Yes, it is over, but we had one of the wildest games that you'll probably see all season long. I mean, it is insane what you saw today. The Diamondbacks scored 10 runs in the 8th inning. And then in the next half inning, they gave up 6. And the Cubs would end up beating the D-backs of 13-11. That's insane. 16 runs were scored in one inning at Wrigley Field today. Unbelievable. But before we get into more baseball, we have a lot to talk about today. Obviously, the road trip has gotten off to a fantastic start. Tyler Soderstrom is on a historic pace. JJ Bleday has gotten hot. Going to see JT Ginn today. But the one thing that we haven't talked enough about is the bullpen. Justin Sterner joins us there in Milwaukee. The bullpen has been so good. It is great to have you on the program. We appreciate the time before this 3-game set.
Thanks for having me.
Just how good is life going for you right now, being in the bullpen for the A's?
I get to be in the big leagues and compete and have fun, and the bullpen, everybody down there has been great, so I'm enjoying it.
You know, you think about your time coming out of BYU back in the day, and you spent a lot of time in the minor leagues. You made it up with the Rays, but it's a different deal for you now because it's just not that you're in the bullpen. You're getting big-time innings in games that really, really matter. What's that been like for you so far?
Yeah, it's been awesome. Just to feel valued, and also I understand that, you know, I got to go out there and earn it. You know, I went into spring training probably on the outside looking in and challenged myself, you know, make it hard for them to make decisions, you know, and so I'm proud of how I've done, and I know it doesn't end now. Like, I got to go out there today and earn it every single day. So just grateful for the opportunity I've been given to compete, and excited to keep it going.
I love that mentality. I love the mentality. I'm coming into camp and I'm going to make this a tough decision on the front office. You did exactly that. How much has it helped you the start of the year? Because a lot of guys go into spring training. We're working on stuff. We've been in labs in the offseason. You've been pitching for your baseball life since spring training. And now that just goes straight into the year. So how much has this become more the norm, and that's really sharpened the edge for you?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something that I think about in the offseason is I want to show up to spring training ready to go, you know, as close to 100% as I can, health-wise and stuff-wise. And so, yeah, just showing up to camp ready to go is definitely a focus for me in the offseason, and it's paid off so far.
When you think about focus and you think about the offseason, a lot of people work on a lot of different things. Now we all hear about pitch shaping and going into labs and changing things. Did you change anything, or did you work on something specific? Sometimes it's mental more than it is in physical. What was the big deal for you going into spring this year that's led you to where you are today?
Well, the last few years I've had some groin injury stuff and just kind of nagging things that have kind of kept me from having sustained success and being healthy to stay in the big leagues, like with Tampa last year. And so that was kind of a big focus, was addressing the groin issue and having a proactive plan to kind of keep that healthy and, daily exercises to focus on that. And, but, just stuff wise was refine it, be able to locate it. I didn't really add a new pitch or do anything crazy, but yeah, just feeling healthy and, not having any thoughts in the back of my head is my groin going to be okay today? Stuff like that, where that can really eat at you and affect more than just how my groin feels. So that was a big focus. And, but yeah, not a whole lot of like stuff changing or pitches changing, just trying to be as healthy as I possibly can.
And you think about an injury like that, a groin or a hamstring, there's certain injuries that the number one thing you can do is just rest, right?
Yeah.
There are other injuries, there's certain things, but something like that. And that's got to be one of those frustrating ones, because then all of a sudden you can't really do a lot of lower body movement, can't do a whole lot of throwing. That's got to be rough.
Yeah, for sure. And especially as a pitcher, you're worried about your arm all the time, and then it's non-arm things that are keeping you off the field. And so, yeah, it got to the point where it's like, okay, we need to figure this out. We need to address it and stay on top of it.
But think about your world right now, and I'm so happy for you. It's an unbelievable story. Just take us through. You make the big club out of spring. That's super cool. You start throwing the ball really well. That's great. And then all of a sudden, Mark Kotsay and Scott Emerson are like, hey, you're coming in high leverage time. I mean, you're a big part of the bullpen now. Just take us through this quick journey. It just seems like what a cool ride it's been. Let's be honest.
Yeah, no, it's been really fun. And again, just grateful that, they trust me and that I've shown enough that I can, be effective and help the team win in those situations. It's all you can ask for as a pitcher, is to be given those opportunities, to be trusted. And, hopefully I can keep up the streak and keep things going and pitching well. But yeah, just overall, just grateful and gratitude, for everything that's been given to me so far.
Now, the bullpen for the Athletics is always a tight group. I know you guys are a tight group. You've pitched in a lot of cold weather games so far this year. You look at Colorado, just coming off of this series in Chicago, where Mark Kotsay talked about second game, how cold it was. But you went to school at BYU. This can't be that big a deal for you.
Yeah, I remember in the fall, our coach we'd have inter squad every now and then when it's 30 and snowing, and our field was heated, and so it could melt the snow. So that gave him an excuse of like, hey, we're going to play in this. So, I mean, yeah, I've played in it before, but it doesn't mean I enjoy being out there in the cold pitching in that. I prefer the heat. I'd rather it be 100 degrees than 30 degrees. But no, yeah, I love my time at BYU. It was great. They're really the only team that gave me a chance out of high school. So I owe a lot to them as well. And I work out with the team in the off season. I'm around the team a bunch. My brother's on the team currently. So really close to that program and school. So yeah, it's awesome.
A lot of kids who will be watching this, you're an inspiration, because as you said, there wasn't every D1 school knocking down your door. You've had to earn everything in pro ball. Just, talk to the kids out there that you never give up. It takes just one person, one shot, and you make the most of it. You're living proof of that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can go through, from little league to high school to transitioning to college and until now, like I can name people that, right place, right time. I was willing to put the work in, but also those people being there for me, set things up to make things happen to get me here, and so looking back, it's like, okay, in high school, like obviously I never would have thought that I would be here. And, just continuing to put my head down and work hard. And people just being in the right place, right time, and taking advantage of those opportunities when they come up. It's been great.
Well, I'm happy to say this. You've earned everything you've gotten and what you continue to get. And congratulations on a hot start. Big series in Milwaukee. Good luck to you, and we'll see you back at the ballpark in West Sacramento. You be well.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks.
What a great story. I mean, it is one of those stories where you do realize, baby, not everybody's going to get nil money like college football and college basketball, Cody. You got to earn what you get. And the majority of us who play in this game, it just takes one person to see it. It takes one, well, kind of out of whack here. One college.
There you go.
Takes one scout, right, in college. Takes one scout in the pros. Takes one person to give you that opportunity. And when you get that opportunity, you absolutely seize the moment. It's just like life, right? Someone gives you a job. Okay, once you get in, maybe the only job offer you had, but once you get in, you go in, you own it, and you make it happen. I mean, this series, you got to be fired up for this series because right now the A's are on a little bit of a heater, and you sweep the White Sox, you outscore them 23-4. They played much better on the road as the ball club is 7-3 on the road. You look at it, scored 55 runs on the road, 19 home runs, a 2.93 ERA, only 8 home runs allowed on the road. Well, guess what? If you're playing better on the road, continue to do it. Milwaukee hasn't hit all strides. You know what's crazy looking at just like the numbers? If we want to just be a little baseball nerdy here, the A's offensively are better than the Brewers in almost every single category there is. And yet the Brewers have scored more runs. How is that possible?
It's very interesting.
Okay, the A's have hit more home runs.
More home runs.
The A's have better batting average. A's have a better on base. They have better slug, which means they have better OPS. I mean, everywhere you look, the A's are better, but yet the Brewers have scored more runs.
I think one thing that could maybe play into that, and it was something I put down for maybe an idea for like later down on the push down on the list for Diamond Notes so we could look at some point, is the A's are dead last in Major League Baseball in stolen bases. They only have 5 stolen bases, 4 of them obviously by Lawrence Butler. The Brewers are a team that can run. You got Churio.
But how many more do they have?
Turang. I would have to look at that with the list, but I mean those
seriously,
2 guys.
I'm having a hard time figuring out how the numbers add up. It can't be if you get on base more and you hit more. How do you have less? They would have to have way more stolen. I mean,
Brewers have 22. The A's have 5, so it's 17 more.
But just because those guys stole doesn't mean they scored.
True. That's a good point. But I'm just trying to look at something that can maybe separate it. Maybe those guys, more guys on that are scoring runs. But
maybe that's it, because everywhere else the A's have out hit. But it's going to be a good series, right? You're going to have Ginn up against Peralta. The Gamblers, our friends down in the desert, like the over today in this game. Has nothing to do with the A's, by the way. When I delved into this, it was all about Peralta. It wasn't had anything to do with Ginn. Had nothing to do with the A's. Didn't even talk about the A's. It was all about the history of Peralta in the last couple of years. They like the over. I think it was at 7.5. So they like the over today. But we got to get to our first Diamond Note. And the first Diamond Note, it's all about Tyler Soderstrom. I mean,
well, he's been doing okay.
Tyler Soderstrom is on pace for 77 home runs and 153 RBIs. He's on pace to shatter Barry Bonds' record. Bonds do that in 02 or 01?
It was 02.
02. Bonds is 73 in 02. He's on pace to shatter that.
Actually, what was 02's year they went to the World Series? Did he do it the same year?
No.
Then
they didn't make the playoffs.
Then it was 01.
So the ballpark in San Francisco opened in 2000.
Yeah.
So it was 01.
Yeah.
So in 01, kind of crazy how long ago that was, right?
24 seasons now.
I know, and I covered that. Barry Bonds had 73 home runs. You thought no one will ever touch that until Tyler Soderstrom now is on pace to do that. Can you imagine Soderstrom at 77 jacks in a season?
And people can't go, well, it's the ballpark in Sacramento. Actually, he's hitting a lot of his home runs on the road.
The majority of his 7 of the 9 home runs are on the road. He's got a 1,477 OPS on the road.
And 3 of those home runs are coming at maybe the best pitcher-friendly ballpark in baseball. That'd be T-Mobile in Seattle. He had 3 in the first weekend, right? Then he had 2 in the one game opening night.
And it's not like weather's helping you out because he's in the freezing cold in Chicago, the freezing cold in you know,
it wasn't that warm in Sacramento, West Sacramento, the first home setting against the Cubs either.
No, the Cubs was at night. It was really, really. Cubs didn't have a problem.
Yeah,
but the rest of us did. You know, the whole iron sharpens iron. Jim Harbaugh. I know he didn't invent that, but he said it all the time. I think this series will kind of tell you all about that, because here you had Chicago, obviously a very good team, and they won kind of a historic, crazy game. We can't go into Twitter right now, but I'm sure there's some historic stuff about two teams scoring 16 runs in 8 innings. There's probably some cool stuff out there about this, but the Cubs, you take away that flop they had in Tokyo against the Dodgers. Cubs have been one of the best teams in baseball. Padres, one of the best teams in baseball. Mets, still a pretty good team, one of the biggest payrolls. The A's have played some pretty good competition. And then you played in snow and cold in Colorado and freezing cold in Chicago. You've played some adverse is what I'm trying to get at, and you're 9-10. Far better than what we've seen the past couple of years. We're starting to see the young guys really blossom. Lawrence Butler has been fantastic. Jacob Wilson, fantastic. J.J. Bleday is a RBI in 5 straight games. He's hitting .308, 4 extra base hits, 9 RBIs in his last 7 games. Rooker is starting to hit. So you're starting to see this offense that we've talked about. The bullpen has actually been nails. I want to say it was 2.55 ERA on the road this year. Things haven't been good at home. That's why they're 2-7. They got to figure that out. But things are starting to get better, and I'm really looking forward to this series because the Brewers haven't hit their stride. A's hopefully starting to hit the stride. Now, I told everybody in the postgame show yesterday, if I hear anybody say it's not a big deal that they swept because it's only the White Sox, I literally was going to freak out on you.
I heard you say we were the White Sox.
We just were the White Sox the last 2 years. We were the team that people came to the Coliseum and they said, you got to at least take 2 out of 3, if not sweep this. If you are a good team and you came to Oakland, if you lost a series, that was a big no-no. I mean, just 2 years ago, we won 50 games. If you were one of the teams that lost one of those 50 games, it was shame on you. So you know what? You got to handle your business, and that's exactly what the A's did by not only winning the series, but sweeping and taking advantage. Because if you think, oh, it's that easy, well, the Red Sox had just been in Chicago and they lost the series. That was in Chicago, right? It wasn't at Fenway. So the Red Sox announcers, Dave O'Brien, love him to death. I guess they were talking about, well, it's off to Chicago where hopefully the Red Sox will get right.
Pretty much, yes.
How did that work out?
They lost 2 or 3.
They lost 2 or 3. So I thought it was very important to go there and at least win the series. That's Captain Obvious. But to sweep, and now you say to yourself, you win this series 2 out of 3 and you're 500. And would you take 500 starting the year out in Seattle, 4 games, taking on the Cubs, taking on the Padres, taking on the Mets, playing in the snow in Colorado and the cold in Colorado, then playing the White Sox, and then going on the road, White Sox and Brewers? If you come away from all of that, and that'll put us at what, late April?
Yeah.
And I said, if I would have given you that scenario, everything that I just gave you and said the club will be 500, would you take that?
Absolutely. And you're looking at, in a division, the AL West, that no one's really running. I mean, Texas is 12-7, but they still can't hit. Their pitching's been good. And then the Mariners are 10-9, and then everyone else is, the Angels are 9-9. The A's are 9-10, and the Astros are in last place.
Behind?
What do you mean behind? They're
the
last
Astros
place.
are behind
Everyone.
the Athletics.
Yeah, they're behind everyone.
3.5 games back, because the A's are just 3 back. So first diamond note today is Tyler Soderstrom. You just start thinking about, Mark McGwire hit 9 home runs in the first 19 games in 1992. Reggie Jackson did it in 1974. But what this kid is doing on the road, his slugging percentage is only behind Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge, by the way, the last 100, we were driving up today, listening to it. Aaron Judge in the last 162 games has hit 63 home runs, 160-something RBI.
I think it was 167 or something like that.
160-something RBIs and a OPS plus of 260 or something like that?
No, his OPS plus this year is 266 or something like that.
No, but last 162 games.
It's it's well over 200.
He's having one of the greatest runs. He's getting tested. Aaron Judge is having one of the greatest clean runs of all time, modern day baseball. There's no doubt about it. Bonds is the best player we ever saw, but Bonds is tainted because of the PEDs. This is clean, and this is equal to what Barry Bonds was doing. Because Bonds only did it once. Bonds only hit over 50 home runs one time. That was a 73. The next highest total was what, 46, 47, something like that?
Yeah, he hit 49 in 2000, the year before.
Okay, so 49.
Yeah.
Dude, Aaron Judge is about to do 60 home runs multiple times. Sammy Sosa's the only guy to do that. Well, no, McGuire hit 70 and then 60-something again. But 3 times.
Sosa did it 3 and 4 years, I believe.
So he did 3 times, but it's all juice. What Aaron Judge is doing and playing a quality outfield, he's actually registering as a better right fielder than center field, but the fact that he's playing, like, that's the thing that separates him from Ohtani. Ohtani just DHs, right? And they're still slow playing when Ohtani's going to be out. So Aaron Judge, amazing. So the fact that we're putting Tyler Soderstrom and talking about Aaron Judge, unbelievable. He homered 3 times against the White Sox. 7 of the 9 are on the road. Absolutely spectacular. So that's by far the number one diamond note. We got to highlight Sody as just sometimes in life, right? When you're very good at something, but then the light turns on. The absolute light has turned on for Tyler Soderstrom. And really for the A's offense yesterday, the 4 home runs. You got that piece you made
I do,
ready to play?
Yeah.
So are we going to have video with this also?
It's just the audio.
Okay. Here, the 4 home runs yesterday. You got Sody, you got Blade, you got Lawrence Butler's absolutely red hot, and it was good to see Rooker towards the end of the game go deep also.
Butler swings a drive to deep right field. Oh, is that ball well struck? And it is gone. A home run for Butler, and it's 2-0 Athletics. Oh, my goodness. Lawrence Butler with a towering home run, his 2nd of the year, his 5th RBI. That swung a drive to deep right field. J.J. Blade has hit it out of the ballpark inside that right field foul pole. It's a 2-run homer for Blade. Jeffrey Joseph hits it out, his 2nd of the year. And the A's now lead 4-0. That just did tuck inside that right field foul pole.
3-2 payoff pitch, and Soderstrom launches this one to deep right. Taylor back. It is gone, and Soderstrom has done it again. There is nothing in the world that you can use to cool this guy off right now. His 9th home run, league-leading 9th home run of the year. His 3rd home run of the series.
2-2 pitch. That swung on, towering blast to left field. Just looking up is Benintendi. It is gone. Red Rooker, a 2-run shot. It's now 8-0 Athletics.
Nice job. I like it. Tyler Soderstrom's 9 home runs are tied for the most by a player in his team's first 19 games, age 23 or younger. Yeah, you got to look at the age. 1966, not the actor, but the ball player, George Scott. 2003, Austin Kearns. 2016, Bryce Harper.
That was come after your Harper won the MVP in 15.
Ooh, and then belly to belly, Cody Bellinger.
What did he do that year?
That was a Dodger MVP year.
Correct. Yep.
2019. So
I think he hit 47 that year. If I'm
are
not
we
mistaken.
looking at an MVP year for Tyler Soderstrom? If the A's could be, that was the thing that hurt last year for Brent Rooker, was that the team wasn't good. If this team is 500 or better and this kid keeps going, knock on wood, knock on wood, knock on wood, you knock on wood.
Okay.
If this continues, Tyler Soderstrom, wow, this is something really, really special. Diamond note number 2, we just want to take a look at the division and where the A's are. The Rangers are your leaders by 2 over the Mariners. Angels have dropped back a little bit. They're 2.5 games back. The Athletics are 3 back, while Houston is 3.5. For the Texas Rangers, they have dominated. By the way, everybody has a run differential in the negative in this division.
It's incredible.
Right?
I mean,
Everybody. That's good, right? I wouldn't want to be in the National League West because everybody in the National League West except the Rockies is playing. Rockies figured out their problem. They fired their hitting coach.
Henley, they felt what was it, Bam Bam?
Hensley Mullins, and now your guy,
the guy that took the rock pile of the World Series, Clint Hurdle's back.
Clint Hurdle comes out of the front office, which I don't even know what he was doing in their front office, and he's now their hitting coach. But yeah, to be in the West, my God. So to see the Rangers at 12-7, 9-1 at home, they haven't been great at anything.
No one's. I mean, I mentioned
they just have winning at home.
Marcus Semien is not getting off to a great start.
The ex-A's,
and I believe they're playing the Dodgers this weekend too.
The ex-A's, like Matt Olson.
Chapman had a good game yesterday.
Chapman ran into a couple balls, but he's not having a great. Like the ex-A's, wow. Semien. This happened to Semien last year. Remember, Semien played better, but at the end of the year, the numbers weren't great. And the further they get away from the World Series year, and you're getting paid a lot of money, that'll be interesting.
DeGrom's pitching tonight in LA, by the way, too.
DeGrom hadn't been great.
Yeah. We should pause 10 seconds for station identification right here on A's Cast.
Mariners are 10-9. They can't hit. Their pitching is still very, very good, but they just can't hit.
Besides Cal Raleigh, they can't hit.
And he just hits home runs.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't hit very. And then you have the Angels, who, by the way, I'm not going to crap on the Angels. The Angels at 500 in third place at 9-9. I think it's kind of how bad they have been. We know how bad we've been. We know how bad they've been. For them to be 500, I think for Ron Washington, you're giving that a thumbs up right now.
Worst team ERA in the American League, but yet they're winning because their offense with guys like Kylan Paris and company. And Charles having a okay year power-wise, but they're starting to come around a little bit on offense. His pitching isn't there yet.
We know all about the Athletics, who are fourth, and then fifth, you got the Houston Astros. They don't do anything well. What happened to the Houston Astros?
I told you they were dead.
They're dead.
It pains me that
they're just dead.
That they're not winning. They're not winning. They're not making the postseason.
They're not the same club anymore.
No, Altuve's playing left field.
Like it's sometimes when you talk about a team's DNA, they don't seem to have the same DNA. It just seems like watching I haven't watched a full game, but watching their highlights, their
pitching's been bad.
It just doesn't seem the same. They don't look like the same. Could they turn it around? They've been able to do that in the past, but this team is different. Like the guts of the team aren't the same. And we know Jose Altuve, from what we've learned inside, he isn't the rah-rah. He isn't the guy that's going to rally the troops like the way Bregman was. Even though he's a great player, he's going to be a Hall of Famer someday, even though he's a cheat.
You don't know that. Apparently he didn't use it.
Oh, wow. You're still defending Jeffrey Lunau after all these years. Coming up next, you had a great career, and now you're hoping your son will have one even better. Jack Wilson, father of Jacob, will join us next right here on A's Cast Live.
When it comes to knocking it out of the park, nobody beats Folsom Lake Ford. Folsom Lake Ford is a 7-time Triple Crown Award winner, Ford Motor Company's highest honor, for being the best in customer satisfaction in sales, service, and finance. Step up to the plate for our biggest selection of new Ford models, including the legendary F-150, on sale now. Shop Folsom Lake Ford, your truck headquarters in the Folsom Auto Mall. FolsomLakeFord.com.
Looking to stay up to date on all things A's? Head over to athletics.com/A'sCast. That's athletics.com/A'sCast to listen to A's baseball in full 24/7 coverage of the A's, only on A's Cast. With a single click, you can stream great shows, live pre- and post-game coverage, and of course, all the great action of the A's this season. Head to athletics.com/A'sCast today. Become an A's insider today. Visit athletics.com/newsletter and sign up to receive the latest team highlights, up-to-date news, features, and more, all delivered free to your inbox. That's athletics.com/newsletter.
A's first baseman Tyler Soderstrom was on A's Cast Live with Chris Townsend and discussed his ability to play multiple positions if asked to.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, I feel like with anything, you got to go out and get the reps and kind of learn the position. Every position has kind of a learning step. But yeah, I mean, I definitely have the athleticism. I feel like to play anywhere on the field. I mean, I feel like shortstop in the bigs would be a little bit of a stretch, but maybe yeah. I mean, I could.
You can play third.
I could.
Could you play third base?
Yeah, I mean, I could play third, play first, corner, outfield spot. I mean, I would feel really comfortable in any of those situations. I mean, obviously, you'd have to put some time in and kind of, like I said, learn the position and what it entails. But yeah, I mean, I feel like my athleticism really carry me anywhere I need to go.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/AceCast. For just $25, fans can sit in the general admission outfield grass for all regular season home games. Tickets for that day's game will open up daily at 9 a.m. for purchase at athletics.com/lawn. Sign up to receive A's alerts to receive a text the first morning of each home series as a reminder. For more information, visit athletics.com/lawn. Calling all college and grad students. Grab your friends and head to the ballpark with this special offer. Save up to 50% off select regular season games throughout the 2025 season. Get your discounted tickets at athletics.com/student.
A's Cast Live continues from NBC Sports. Here's Chris Townsend.
All right, one of my favorite notes on Jack Wilson. We can talk about All-Star, Silver Slugger, what he did with the Pirates, Mariners, Braves, but this is one of my favorite. He became just the 9th National League shortstop to collect 200 hits in a season. Just the 9th. He was the first Pirate to do it since Dave Parker in 1977. And he was the first Pirate shortstop who was, before Jack Wilson got 200 hits, who was the last Pirate shortstop to do it?
Oh, boy.
Come on, you grew up in Pittsburgh.
I don't want to say Pokey Reese because that was right before Jack.
Pokey Reese. You think Jack knows the answer to this?
Hopefully. He's nodding yes.
Jack, before you collected 200 hits, who was the shortstop before you to last collect 200 hits as a Pirate shortstop?
I'm guessing Honus Wagner.
1908. Where were all of you in 1908 with Honus Wagner? I mean, that is such a cool note. You know, I think about your career. You had an outstanding career, and I've been telling the story how funny it was. We're all at the ballpark at West Sacramento, and you introduced yourself, and I turned around, and you're there in an A's jersey and a hat and sunglasses and a beer in your hand. You're some fan. Then and then it took time to register, like, oh, this is Jacob's father. My God. It was so great to meet you that day, and congratulations. I know how much it means to you and the family, and Jacob talks about you guys all the time to us. This has got to be a really special time for you guys.
No, it is. Thank you. It's amazing. We're still pinching ourselves. You know, it's so much fun to be able to, follow him around and travel around and see him at all the different stadiums that he came in as a kid that he used to go to. So it's really a cool experience to be able to converse with him after every game, talk before every game, and just kind of like talk shop about baseball with him. So it's a pretty fun time for us right now.
Now, we have seen father and son combinations all the time. I think it's truly interesting, though, that you both are shortstops. I mean, look at Tyler Soderstrom. His dad, Steve, who I played against at Fresno State, he was a pitcher, right? Tyler's not a pitcher. You can have guys that, your dad was an outfielder, you're not, but shortstop's a unique position because it really, no offense to everybody else, but it's the most skilled position in our sport. You got to be a great athlete. You got to have amazing feet and balance, kind of like a dancer in some ways, the rhythm that you have to have. So it's very rare that you would have a father and son combo play the same position like shortstop. Talk about that bond between you two, because it doesn't happen often.
Yeah, it's actually kind of funny. He actually didn't. I coached him for most of his time coming up. When I retired, I think he was like 10 and a half. So I really didn't go full-time coaching until he was like 11. But he actually didn't play much shortstop for me. He was really good at turning double plays. And when you're in youth baseball, double plays are pretty much everything because they just don't happen very often. He was very quick at turning a double play. So it wasn't until his senior year in high school that he actually played shortstop for me, and then went to GCU and played third. So his first like full-time shortstop gig was his sophomore year in college at Grand Canyon. So that's when we really got to dive in. It was the summer when he went to the Northwoods after his freshman year of college, where we really dove into the shortstop position, and because that was going to be his role at GCU the following year and hopefully beyond. So that's when we really got into the nitty-gritty of, up until that point, I taught a lot of stuff about second base.
All right, so just how is it from a standpoint of coach, father, people are asking you, how good's your son? You want to think he's good enough. You're not quite sure. Like when for you did you really go, wow, we got something here? I do think what you saw as a player, what you've seen as a coach, you think he actually really has a shot at it?
Probably sophomore year of college. The one thing about Jake is that he regrew a lot in high school, and he was kind of like I called him like baby Bambi. He was like elbows and knees. He was really lengthy, and he didn't run very fast. He didn't have the best arm, but he had all the baseball skills that that he had worked on through his whole life. He could pick the ball. He was very accurate with his throws, and he was very good at the plate. And you just saw if he could get into that 6'3" frame, if he could fill that out, and to take his tools that he had in the game and fill him out with some muscle and fill out that 6'3" frame, I thought, with this team, he might be pretty good. And that sophomore year of college is where everything kind of started to fill in a little bit. The ball started to jump off the bat. But his senior in high school is when his arm came a lot. That's when he started playing shortstop, because he had that carry to first base. He was also our closer. He was like 91, 92 with the slider. He was kind of nasty. So he talked me into letting him close that year, but it was only 8 games because of COVID. But he had to talk me into it for sure. But that senior year where his arm came along, that's like, okay, he can play on the left side of the infield now, because I knew his glove was going to be good and his footwork was good. It was just having that arm come along, which he ended up doing. So it was pretty fun to watch him kind of escalate to what he became.
I cannot wait to start the controversy in the clubhouse now. Go by Mason Miller. Hey, you don't get it done, old Jacob Wilson can come in and close it out.
Jake had a nasty slider, man. It was dirty. He was good. I was like, don't try to be a pitcher. Just be a shortstop and throw the ball hard. And he always had a good slider, and he was very accurate. So it was a perfect guy for a high school closer.
It's amazing to me all the years covering, Major League Baseball, the NFL, the NBA, no matter how great a player you are, you always remember the bad stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like Jack Nicklaus recently was talking about, he remembers not winning a major more than he wins a major. Those ones he didn't win still bug him to this day. I've heard Larry Bird and Magic Johnson talk about it. So in your career, you had a great career, but do you ever think about the stuff where you go, God, I wish I did this different. I would have done this, or I would have done that. And you try and help Jacob with that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That was everything. I think there was this like common thread where, players would retire, and there was this, thing about if you could write a letter to yourself back and then, what would it say? And, I've been fortunate enough to basically take that letter of what I looked back on my career and what I would have done differently, and then put it into Jacob's career. So it's actually been pretty cool to actually live that out. Like, what would I tell a younger version of me coming up through the minor leagues and stuff like that? And I basically just had that same conversation with Jacob. And like, I did not want Jake to hit like me. Our swings are completely different. I wanted him to, have a bat plane like Pujols did, to have the load like Cabrera did, to have his hands load like Mike Trout. I just looked at the best. So defensively, I taught him everything I knew from the great infield coaches. I had Perry Hill, who's in Seattle. He's revered as one of the best infield coaches ever. I teach his stuff to pretty much everybody that'll listen. And that's where Jacob's footwork and his defense comes from. But I just looked back and said, like you said, if I would have done, what could I have done differently? And I just basically teach Jake the opposite of what I watched. Some of the best years I had in my career were the years that I was a bench player, because I got to watch baseball for the first time. I was a starter for so long, but then I got to watch baseball and learn and talk to coaches in game. And that's when I really started to learn a lot about different things and get to watch certain players play and hit and really kind of study their game. So it was pretty cool to be able to pass that on to Jake.
Years ago, people hated lower body movement in the box. They absolutely hated it. Now we see a lot of front leg kicks. We see that. Jacob has a lot of movement, but I always revert back to golf in a lot of ways, because there's so much of the science of golf has now made it into baseball, where they talk about you just being static, where you're still, then move, versus always having a little something going, a little rhythm going into your swing. Like Lee Trevino talks about it all the time. And I know for a lot of people, Google Lee Trevino, one of the greats of all time. So when Jacob's moving his feet, I like to think of that as something that's getting him into rhythm. I know that's something you worked with him. You got into boxing after your career. Talk about how he moves his feet in the box.
Well, I just, it's again like studying athletes, and like I always felt when I started doing boxing lessons, it was like, okay, these guys are being asked to be the most explosive athletes in the quickness that they're asking themselves to do with throwing punches and blocking. And, come to find out it was all about their footwork. Their footwork had to continue to move to get their body ready to make those quick movements. So when it came to Jake, and the movement is just like staying in like you said, a steady rhythm. Because then when we tell ourselves to go to load as the pitcher's coming through, like if we're stagnant, it's going to take a split second for us to say from our brain to our body to do something. But if we're always moving, it's going to be that much faster. And that could be the difference between barreling a ball out in front or getting beat. So for him, it's also it's a way for him to get out of the box, understand what he's looking for, what his approach is. And then once he gets to the box, he starts his rhythm. And then now that thought process, he's focused in on what he's going to do, so he doesn't second guess. So it's a whole process, but for him, it definitely works. I move my feet as well. My hands as well were pretty quick. So we have that similarities, but it works for him. It works for him. He's been pretty consistent with it.
So are you saying that as a boxer, being flat-footed and still would be a bad move?
He's going to get smoked, which I did plenty of times while I was doing my lessons. For me, it was just like learning something different. I feel like every sport has like what these athletes are learning to do. I mean, I think when you look at baseball players, you look at some of the best athletes, you're going to see guys that played multiple sports because they taught their bodies and to do more athletic movements that you just don't do playing baseball. So I always like to look at those guys and study different types of things. And that was one of the things I got from that. I was like, man, these guys are always moving and always, making adjustments. So it was pretty similar to kind of like having an at bat and, going from at bat to bat, pitch to pitch.
Floyd Mayweather has never been knocked out. Why? Because he's always moving and you can't
moving. No
stick
doubt.
and move, baby. Stick and move. Let's put up the pictures. You have the pictures, Cody, of so we have some pictures of here. That's of Jacob Wilson.
Hey.
There we go.
Yeah, there we are. Yeah, that's my oldest daughter, Jaden, who's now at Point Loma University, but that was Jake. We visited quite often to Milwaukee, especially in that National League Central. Everything's pretty close, so there were easy flights to get from Pittsburgh to those places. So the NL Central is probably the best travel in Major League Baseball. Everything's just right there. So we had many times we were able to bring the family over to Milwaukee.
All right, give me this is with Max Muncy.
Yeah, so Max, we did 17U USA Baseball together, and that's us in Milwaukee, and they were playing their Stars and Stripes games, and it was funny because they had a day off, and I reached out to Yelich, and he came to the park and met a bunch of the guys, because Yelich is from our hometown as well, Thousand Oaks, California, so he's a hometown hero of ours, so it was a really good experience being with Max in the USA event. He had a couple other teammates from our high school in that same event, so it was pretty cool. So we got a lot of history with Milwaukee.
I think about your career, and to play for the Pirates, a very historic, very proud franchise. Obviously, Cody grew up a Pirates fan, just grew up right outside of Pittsburgh. And, when I was growing up, and I tried, when I was born and when I first started really noticing sports and I can remember sports, the Pirates, my first World Series I remember was when the Pirates beat the Orioles in 79. Then my first Super Bowl I remember was the Steelers actually beating the Rams and Vince Ferragamo. But you just think about the history. What was it like? And you're considered one of the great Pirates of all time.
Oh, thanks, man. No, it's amazing city. We loved every minute there. Obviously our record there for the 9 seasons there was pretty tough. But I wouldn't really trade them. I had great teammates, and the people in Pittsburgh are just amazing fans. They love their Pirates, their Steelers, and their Penguins. And, for the long time there, the Steelers and the Penguins were bringing it home, and we were struggling for a little bit, but they still came out and supported us. We had a bunch of young guys. We played hard. It just never kind of came to fruition. So it was really amazing to watch them in 2012 and 13. I think they made the playoffs 3 years in a row with the new wild card system and everything. So it was really awesome to see and get the rest of the country to see how passionate they were about Pirates baseball. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to be in a uniform when that happened, but was just really proud. And still, they're the only team other than the A's that I really pay attention to and have ties with. So I root for my guys. They're struggling a little bit right now, but hopefully they turn around. A big thing for our family is when the A's go to PNC Park this year in September. We want the A's and the Pirates to be in contention for that series. That'd be amazing. But to be able to go back where Jacob spent so many times, and his sisters and Julie, and spent so much time in that stadium, we have a lot of family coming out for that one. It's gonna be pretty special.
I have made a commitment to be at that series.
Yes.
It is an unbelievable. You want a historic road trip in baseball? It's 3 games at Fenway Park. That is September 16th, 17th, and 18th, and then on to Pittsburgh for the weekend, 19th, 20th, and 21st. I can't wait to be there. I got to think, though, for you and the family, especially for you, you're going to go down on that field as somebody, once again, who had a great career with the Pirates. You mean a lot to that organization. And to watch your son, and we're going to have to hook up with you again and do an interview, but I got to think that moment where your dream came true to be a Major League Baseball player and to watch your son play in Pittsburgh, the same position for the Athletics. I don't know if you know what that moment's going to be like, but I think it's going to be pretty emotional for you deep down.
I think so. I think we're all so excited about it, but I don't think there'll be too many dry eyes from our family. And I still have pictures from our first family day where everybody's family came out and you played like wiffle ball and stuff on the field, and I was holding him, and he had a little bat in his hand. I think he was maybe 1.5. And then every family day since then, we play a day game and then we play a family game after the game on the field, and he's going to be able to be on that field and play a real game in that stadium as a member of the Athletics. So it's definitely going to be probably one of the most special moments in our lives for sure.
You got to play, and let's end on this. You got to play against some really great players. And when I think of certain people that I got to watch, years and years ago, when you think of Rod Carew, I grew up in San Diego. I got to see Tony Gwynn in college at San Diego State. I got to see his entire career. You think about Wade Boggs. Yeah. You now think about like Ichiro, who's going into the Hall of Fame. There's been certain guys in this game who just make historic contact on a consistent basis, and they have long careers. And I don't want to put the cart before the horse or put any pressure on Jacob. When I watch him play, I just see a kid that hits like that. We had Tony Gwynn Jr. on the show, and I said, Tony, this kid, you show up at the ballpark, he gets 2 hits every day. It's just how it is. How do you project? What do you see? And I want you to put pressure, but what do you, after what you've seen, you've watched him growing up, you've played in the big leagues, how do you kind of project him going forward?
I see the game. The more he plays, this first year is tough. You're facing pitchers for the first time. You don't know the shapes of the pitches. You don't know the spin. You don't know if it's a cutter or a slider. So I think his thought process is swing. It's going to be swing first. I think it's going to calm down a lot more the more he plays, the more the year goes on. I see more deeper counts. Right now he gets up there and swings, and that's what you kind of do your rookie year, kind of figure it out. And his thing is he puts the ball in play, so he feels pretty confident swinging early. But I think as the more you play, the more the game slows down and you get more comfortable where you can now kind of pick your spot. So he's able to cover from pole to pole, and he swings early and he makes good contact, and he's getting some big hits early for the team, which is great. And I see that as soon as it starts to slow down even more, I could see that even getting better, because now you're going to be in different counts, a situation where, you're seeing guys majority, a couple, 2, 3, 4 times in your career. So you get to see, you understand what they're trying to do to you a little bit more. So I think it's this year it's going to be like, hey, let's go out and figure it out and play it day by day. And then I think as the game slows down, I think it could be pretty special for him.
Well, we look forward to seeing you again at the ballpark in West Sacramento, and let's do this again soon. And we definitely have to hook up in Pittsburgh. But I want to keep up with you and the family, because I think he's gonna. I don't want to put too much pressure, but I think he's going to be a great player for this organization for a long time. I think he's going to be somebody who's going to sign an extension. I think he's going to be a big part of the Athletics going forward into Las Vegas as he starts heading into his prime. I mean, what you saw yesterday with Lawrence Butler leading off at 24, your son hitting second at 23, and Tyler Soderstrom at 23, leading the league in home runs. The future is great. So we'll definitely want to check in with you soon, but you be well, and we'll see you at the ballpark.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next week. We'll be there for the whole homestand, so we'll come say hello.
You know where we are. Come by
Yes,
and
we
see
do. Sounds good.
Take care.
Thanks, Towny.
I'm waving to him, and you're cutting him off.
That's on me. I'm sorry. I will apologize to Jack and let him know that I'm sorry for cutting him off. By the way,
you grew up with that guy as your shortstop.
There's been one player since Jack Wilson in Pittsburgh history to have 200 hits in a season. Who am I?
It's not Kutch.
Was not McCutchen. We ended up going to
11?
Seattle after Pittsburgh. I think.
It's somebody after.
They were hold on. They were teammates.
They were teammates. Well, I can't go Andy Van Slyke.
He was a Giant as well after Pittsburgh. He won a batting title in Pittsburgh the same year he had 200 hits.
Oh! What's his name? He got traded over. Second base.
Freddie Sanchez.
Yeah.
That's
I would have never guessed that.
Besides, the Flying Dutchman, Hannes Wagner, and a couple other people. Ralph Kiner.
I wanted to go Andy Van Slyke, but obviously Andy Van Slyke played with Bonds and Bonilla. Another Met hack, Bobby Bonilla.
There hasn't been,
your boy Juan Soso doing, huh?
Not great. And
Not great.
And there hasn't been a player even sniffing 200 hits for the Pirates since Freddie and Jack.
Jack Wilson was your shortstop.
Yes.
As a Pirate fan, you grew up. That was your shortstop.
We didn't have a lot to cheer for back then.
Think about that. And now he's coming on the show.
Well,
Talk about a small world.
I know. Getting to meet him in person, it was. I called my mom yesterday and told her, I was like, "Hey, Jack's coming on." She goes, "Don't you have his jersey?" I'm like, "I think I have it somewhere at home still."
Yeah, it was that's when he came up, and it took a moment to register, right? Because you turn around, it's a guy with a beer in his hand, and he's got sunglasses. Yeah, then you're like, "Oh gosh, Jack Wilson! This guy is a great player." And then that's why I yelled to you, "Hey, it's Jack Wilson!" Because you're a Pirates fan. It's a big deal. And then his son. Where is the basketball jersey?
Oh, it's
Will you get the basketball? The great Vittorio DiBartolo is going to be all over me because he gave me this basket. The 916. We're repping. Here, you hold it up. Repping the 916.
Well, yeah, because last time I had a basketball memorabilia on, that turned out well for the Kings.
Hey, Nate, back in the studio. Permission for a cheap shot. Will you give me permission? Okay, Nate the Great just gave me permission. This is the only basketball jersey you're going to see anytime soon in Sacramento.
Oh, wow. What do you mean? They already replaced the GM. They fired him and replaced the guy.
They hired the guy from the old Knicks guy already?
Yeah, they literally hired him. They literally hired him the next morning.
Will you show was that happen yesterday? No, we thought he was in the process. He was officially hired. Signed a contract.
Officially hired Scott Perry, the new general manager.
By the way, what was the Knicks record while he was there?
They're better now. Tibbs running the team as a coach.
How many banners did they raise?
They haven't raised a banner since Phil Jackson as a player
in Madison, and the Mecca, Madison. That was 72. The year I was born.
Yeah, that's the last time
was it 72, 73 season?
Yes.
Yeah, I was born in 72. So the season hadn't even started yet.
So real quick, you can get this A's
basketball
jersey.
If you're listening on A's Cast or the A's Radio Network, we apologize. But the basketball jersey was all the rage in Philadelphia when the A's were there, taking on the Sixers without Dr. J and Moses Malone. But we now have our own basketball jersey. It is awesome. It's the A's jersey. It's got the 916. Hold it up again. 916 on it. We're repping the 916. So if you want something basketball this summer, you're not going to get it with the Kings. You'll get it right here with the Athletics.
Brought to you by Red Hawk Resort and Casino. It's actually next Saturday, April 26th, against the White Sox. You can
number
get
25. Is that for Rook or for the year?
See, that's a good question. I don't know the answer. I assumed it would be for the year, but maybe it's for Rook.
Maybe it's for Rook. Rook, who had one of the best years in our franchise's history last year.
Yeah, I would say
he wouldn't. Okay, he would. Okay, first of all,
we'll say it's a dueling one.
Aaron Judge, and you know how much we hate the Yankees on this program, but got to give the kid from the Central Valley all the praise in the world for what he's doing. And all of a sudden, someone said it to us at the winter meetings in Dallas. We were in Dallas, winter meetings. I made Cody go to where President Kennedy was shot. I made you guys do some history.
No one else. I wanted to go. No one else was.
I had to pay for all you guys just so I could go because you guys didn't want to. I felt like a father figure. I'm like, I'm gonna have to pay for this. Otherwise, I'm not gonna. The grassy knoll forced you to barbecue. But I won't forget there in Dallas where someone says, you know what the bottom line is? That the Dodgers are soaking up all the energy in the air in the room in baseball. And all of a sudden I was like, yeah. And you know what? I hate them too. There's a lot of hate here on A's Cast. I've never liked the Dodgers. I can't stand the Dodgers. I respect that they're making everybody be better. But I can't stand the Dodgers. Can't stand the Yankees. Can't stand the Dodgers. But Aaron Judge, well, Ohtani, Betts, Freeman. When you're great, you're great. You gotta give love in our game. When you don't like a team or franchise, you gotta give love to the greats. I'm just telling you, Aaron Judge is doing stuff that he's modern day baseball. It's insane the numbers he's putting up. It's insane. It's insane. I know he stinks in the postseason, but his number. Remember, Bonds stunk in the postseason. Bonds was horrible as a Pirate in the postseason. Didn't do anything until Royd Berry, Super Berry, showed up in 2002 against the Anaheim Angels.
We have the Rally Monkey in the Road studio.
Remember, they had the A with the wing on it.
Yeah.
The Disney Angels.
Troy Glaus. Garrett Anderson, Scott Schoenweiss, young John Lackey.
How do you not bring up friend of the program, Tim Salmon?
Salmon, yeah. I mean, Mike Scioscia held on to a job for 20 years after that.
What's his name was the World Series MVP? No, he was MVP for the Cardinals.
But David Eckstein.
David Eckstein.
Who I think works for the Pirates now, or he did.
Who was catching?
Was it Benji?
Malini?
Was it Benji?
2002 was a long time ago. I covered that World Series too. It's a long time
Jared
ago.
Washburn was one of their better pitchers.
John Lackey started Game 7. He was a rookie, wasn't he?
Benji Molina, Scott Spezio at first.
Scott Spezio.
Adam
now in
Kennedy
a band.
Second.
Brad Fulmer.
DH, yeah. Benji Gill on the bench. And then their starting five was Ramon Ortiz, Jared Washburn, Kevin Appier, Aaron Seeley, John Lackey.
Rookie John Lackey, right? He started Game 7. How old was he?
23. And K-Rod was in the bullpen too.
Wow. So you guys all act like 23. They're so young. By the way, my dream lineup is already over.
Well, we can call that a tease and do it after.
My dream lineup yesterday. I was so pumped yesterday. I was so upset we didn't have A's Cast Live yesterday. And I was so excited. And then I saw the lamp today. I was like, oh. Coming up on A's Cast Live. Why today I went, oh, next.
Here's the pitch, and it's a hit. Folsom Lake Ford has stepped up again, winning the Triple Crown Award, Ford Motor Company's highest honor. Now 7 years in a row, Folsom Lake Ford is a top sales leader in the U.S., along with being top in customer satisfaction in sales, service, and finance. Now that's a home run. Don't miss the huge savings on your favorite models at your truck headquarters. Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall.
A's center fielder J.J. Bleday joined Towny on A's Cast Live and discussed his experience using the torpedo bat.
I've been using it during the homestands, and it feels like any other bat. Like when you feel it, pick it up, you hit it. It feels like any other bat. But with that being said, there have been some times where I make really flush contact and it doesn't feel like it's going as hard as it would a normal bat. So, the theory behind it is moving the barrel down towards the handle for guys who have more contact closer to the handle, to where, if you get fisted a little bit, it could potentially be a pull side home run or oppo bomb or whatever the case is. For me, I just think it's all a feel-based thing. And, there have been times where I think it feels good, but then there are times where, I feel like, I got a little bit more if I was using a regular bat.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast. Calling all college and grad students. Grab your friends and head to the ballpark with this special offer. Save up to 50% off select regular season games throughout the 2025 season. Get your discounted tickets at athletics.com/student. A's shortstop Jacob Wilson joined Towny on A's Cast Live to share his approach when stepping into the batter's box.
Yeah, I go out there every day. You kind of have to have a different mindset up here. You're facing the best pitchers in the world pretty much. So just be able to go up there and look for a pitch that you want to hit in a certain count, and kind of being able to go up there and have good battles against these pitchers. When they want to hit a spot, they usually tend to hit that spot, and you should try to capitalize on their mistakes. If they leave a slider hanging or leave a fastball down the middle, you just try to kind of attack on those pitches, because if you miss those, it's gonna be tough to get another one like that, because these guys up here are just so good. So you just try to go up there and just have good at bats. Try to get on base, try to put the ball in play, and more times you get on base, odds are you're gonna score more runs for your team. So it's kind of my mindset going into it, just going up there and having good at bats.
You can watch the full interview at youtube.com/athletics or listen at athletics.com/A'sCast.
The A's YouTube page is your go-to destination for A's video content. Get access to great highlights, exclusive behind-the-scenes content, classic games, A's Cast Live, and more. Visit youtube.com/athletics.
A's Cast Live continues from the studio. Here's Chris Townsend.
The Mark Kotsay Show, brought to you by Folsom Lake Ford, is going to be coming up here in just a little bit. Kots has to be happy. On the road, 7-3 this year. On the road, scored 55 runs. They've been far better offensively. They've been far better pitching. And once again, a very good matchup, because the Brew Crew they've been one of the best teams in baseball. And they keep winning their division. They keep losing people. They lose players. They lose their manager. And they keep going. And every single year when The Athletic puts out that list of who are the front offices, they're one of the front offices that everybody goes, Brewers are legit. That's how they stay. It's how they stay relevant. And
their guy left to go to New York.
Their guy left to go to New York. Their manager left to go to Chicago. Their shortstop's now in San Francisco. I mean, they keep losing people. Pat Murphy, guy was a college coach and was, no disrespect, but he was kind of known as kind of a lunatic, like in the college world. Like I didn't know much about him at Notre Dame, but at Arizona State, people will tell you, and I saw a piece this offseason on him where he kind of admits to it, right? Perspective in life, and he didn't have perspective in life. And he feels bad about it. I guess to a lot of his old players, he says sorry to. Hey, people can change. It's hard to change people. Trust me, I've tried to change Cody. Can't do it.
Mike Singletary now? Can't do it.
I want winners. Can't win with them. The real number, Vernon Davis was 85, right?
Correct, yes.
Yeah, that's the real 85 to me. Vernon Davis. Out of?
Maryland.
He was a Terp. But yeah, Pat Murphy, you'd think the guy that was a coach in college and known as a lunatic is the guy who's managing. He had a chance to be the interim guy in San Diego. Then he became the bench coach in Milwaukee, but, has changed his life and now has a great relationship and seems to, with family life, new family, younger kids, has had kids of different ages, right? But has much more perspective and sounds like a really good story now. So it's impressive. And now, once again, the Athletics continue to be in the National League. We never play anybody in the American League. It's crazy. It literally is crazy. We've played more National League than we have American League.
Well, we got two games in the homestand, 2 series next week in the homestand against.
Do we play another National League team?
Rangers, White Sox.
Do you realize we've only played 2 American League teams, and we're going to be almost through the first month of the season?
You're a big in the league guy, so.
This is getting a little out of hand. I couldn't believe it, because you still kind of every once in a while when I still call me a dinosaur. When I see Milwaukee, I still think of Robin Yount, Paul Molitor, Cecil Cooper,
Harvey's Wallbangers.
I think about them being the American League, right? But no, they're in the Central. They're in the National League, but another National League team. But this is a good matchup. This is a well-run organization. This is a team that expects to right now, they came into today with Chicago already winning, so no matter what, there'll still be a game back, but a long way to go. And Milwaukee, it's a good test for the Athletics. I think no question. All these tests, like right out of the gate, you've been getting some good tests. Let's see what you got. I like it.
I'm going to ask you right now, and this is your opportunity. Are you going to bury the Brewers and say they're not going to win the division? Or do you want to hold off still?
Oh, I got to save that for Hot Take Tuesday. I have 2 years in a row because Milwaukee is a team that anything Cody likes, I hate. So he is like the front office of the Brewers.
Matt Arnold now.
And I've buried them 2 straight years in my hot takes. This is the year they go down. Because I had St. Louis taking them over. Didn't happen.
You had the Cubs the year before.
And then I had the Cubs. Ooh, my Cubs this year. Go, Cubs, go. Hey, Chicago. How's it go? Hey, Chicago.
What do you say? Cubs are going to win today.
It's so cheesy.
It plays, though.
Yeah, it's
very Midwestern.
It is the Midwest. Even though Chicago, it's what I love about Chicago is that it is a big monster city.
It's a top 5 market now?
Top 3.
Yeah.
It's third largest, right? It goes New York, Los Angeles, Chicago. A lot of bad things happen in Chicago, but a lot of good things happen in Chicago too. Chicago's a rough town. But
not for their sports teams.
There's a lot of great restaurants. Chicago's a great place, miserable weather, but it's got like a New York skyline kinda, but it's not New York people. It's really nice Midwest people. Now, once again, there's crazy things going on in Chicago, but for the most part, when you're in certain parts of town, they're Midwest, they're sweet, they're nice, Midwest people are great. Like when I was just recently, I was in Michigan, and then I went down to Indiana, then I was in Chicago, then I went down to Texas, and I was like, man, everybody's so friendly in the Midwest and the South.
I can't wait till we go on this road trip at the end of the year, and you have to go hang out with the East Coasters in Boston and meet the lovely people of Western Pennsylvania.
The whole Townsend family's from Boston.
I know, but you're talking about the Midwest. You're in for a treat when you go
Boston,
to Pittsburgh.
Fenway Park. I'm gonna park my car and have it. Yeah, I say it to my cousins all the time. So when you guys watch the news, the national news, and they say car, you don't notice that you guys say car, park, Fenway Park. It's Fenway Park. No one says welcome to Fenway Park. Like the way their accent is so. It's just we make
the only one that I have that I can't ever get right is I still can't say Tigers right.
Tigers.
But when I say it fast, I say it weird.
Detroit Tigers.
Yeah. Tiger Woods.
Tiger. What do you say?
Detroit Tigers.
Yeah. You Midwest. You see, we don't because I worked with Matt Steinmetz all those years on 95.7 The Game, and he is from outside Philadelphia, but he considers himself like Philadelphia. He hates Pittsburgh. There's Pennsylvania hate, which I didn't realize. Pennsylvania people really hate each other. So Philly people do not like Pittsburgh people, and Pittsburgh people do not like. Now, Pittsburgh is out west, and Philadelphia people, see, we view you as East Coasters, but people in Pennsylvania on the eastern side of Pennsylvania, Philadelphia area, they view you as a bunch of Midwest honks.
It's fair. I mean, I get it. If you look at the geography of of Pennsylvania, it's
and then if you go to the upper Midwest, like where Penn State, well, every campus there is Penn State, but what we know is Penn State football, Happy Valley.
That's State College is a city.
Yeah, there's how many? There's it's like the California State school system or the UC system. It's the Pennsylvania State system. There's 11 or 13 of them.
Yeah,
or
there's plenty of them. I think they're getting rid of some of them. Actually.
But when we think of Joe Paterno in Penn State, that's Happy Valley.
Yeah, State College.
And you guys don't like them either. What is wrong with you Quakers? You guys are running around in your buggies and aren't you guys all kind of
now you're taking shots at Nick Kurtz's upbringing. He's from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, not Lancaster, Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
I know Lancaster, California. Do you know what happened in Lancaster? My very good friend and former teammate at San Jose State, Tim Salato, is from Lancaster. You know what else happened in Lancaster?
Joey Estes lives there, from there, but I would say something with aliens, right?
The Flintstones was filmed there with John Goodman years ago. That's their secret alien research projects. Lockheed has stuff going on out there, and the Flintstones with John Goodman was filmed out there. Other than that, nothing's happened. Lancaster's miserable. This is not Pennsylvania. It's not Lancaster.
It's Lancaster, but it's spelled the same way.
What is wrong with you people?
Actually, I don't know. I would say what's wrong with Californians who are saying it.
I'm just going to tell you this. Road Trip Mike knows of Amish hotels in Pennsylvania. They have Amish hotels. It says they're clean, beautiful.
One of the best cities in Pennsylvania in that area is Bird in Hand.
Bird in Hand?
I'm not. I wish I was lying.
Come on, man.
Bird in Hand, unincorporated community in Pittsburgh and Pennsylvania.
Oh my God, that's real.
Yeah, I took my wife there. Well, we drove through it.
I understand how everybody looks at the problems that we have in California. Okay. I've been very fortunate because of traveling family-wise and professionally, whether it's with the different teams that I've worked for. I've basically been to every major city in the country. And I know everybody now looks at California as crazy, and we are crazy. And yes, we have where it's too expensive to live here. We have a homeless problem. Our taxes are crazy. I get it. But when you really delve into a lot of states and you go there, we are not as crazy as people think. Have you been to Louisiana? I've been all over Louisiana. You go to the Bayou, we look really normal compared to the Bayou. All right? You want to go into the swampland of Florida. You want to go into Minnesota. If you know what lake people in Minnesota are like? Minnesota is what, like my cousin, you go all over Minnesota. I've been all over Minnesota. They're nuts.
Land of 10,000 lakes, right?
Oh my God. Arizona, desert people are different. And we have a lot of A's people that live in the desert. I get it. We're more normal in Cal. They're painting us. I get it. We have problems in our great state of California. I'm a 5th generation Californian, but I'll tell you what, you travel around the country, we are not as nuts as the South, the Northeast. No. My family in Boston, they're crazy, and they are the most unhappy people in the world. And somehow they think Dunkin' Donuts. Wait, is Dunkin' a sponsor?
Not that I don't know.
And they think Dunkin' Donuts is good.
All I know is that you think your family's unhappy.
Oh,
you clearly don't know my parents.
Well, Bostonians, they can't be happy. They can't be happy. They can't be happy. They can't. It just doesn't happen. I mean, once Larry Bird and Tom Brady left, everybody's upset. Life has never been the same.
And Belichick now.
Oh, and Belichick. Well, and the Red Sox. Everybody in Boston. Everybody thought Boston.
The Bruins stink too. So all I got is the Celtics.
Everybody thought the Boston Red Sox were going to be good this year. How's that working out?
Well, as a guest we talked to today, I won't say who. It's still early. They're still getting in bats.
Oh my God!
So you can talk about the lineup real quick before we get to Kotsay.
Shooty Babbitt, Mark Kotsay are like, oh yeah, it's a lot of. How many at bats are you going to get before you worry? Like I mean, how many teams? Because the history of baseball, because this is where people don't want. This is when you don't want to look into data. The history of baseball will show you get off to a bad start, it doesn't end well. Because we have over 100 years to show you that most teams who start out bad don't end well. Now, players can turn it around. That's individual guys. But teams that don't start well in the history of this game, it doesn't end well. And we have 150-something years. Is 150-something years a small sample size?
In this case, no.
No. So that's why you always go, yeah, you're right. It's early, but when's it not early? Because if you're a person that sings it's early and it never turns around, then all of a sudden it's like, when's the panic set in?
Well, a lot of these teams are probably already panicking.
We just won 50 games 2 years ago. When was it early? When you only win 50 games?
Yeah, that wasn't great. Well, it's a big improvement last year.
Yeah.
19 more wins.
I don't like people selling me stuff. I like real. I'll give you some at bats. But are you Albert Pujols? I mean, when I think great hitters, Hank Aaron or Albert Pujols or Tony Gwynn or Ichiro or A-Rod or, whoever has really great, you got great numbers, I can get with a slow start. But if you're not a great player, can I go cliche here? The back of the baseball card. When your back of the baseball card isn't that great, why should I believe that you're going to turn a slow start around?
Well, now you throw out the back of the baseball card. If you're not one of those historically great players like you mentioned, you're probably not going to figure it out.
I mean, if you're Wade Boggs and you get out to a slow start, I'm okay. But if you're a career 250 hitter, why would I be thrilled?
Yeah.
Right. But good news is, this is our last show. Hopefully not our last show. We'll be back on Tuesday. We have a day off on Monday. Hopefully we're talking at least 2 out of 3, and we'll be in Sacramento on our killer set. Show will be at what, 4:30?
Yep, 4:30.
And we're talking about the A's being at least 500. I can sell 500.
Oh, hope and worry.
I can sell 500. I can sell Tyler Soderstrom hitting 9 home runs. I can sell Jacob Wilson. Oh, I didn't pay off the tees. We are back to Butler, Rooker, Soderstrom, Langoliers, Blade, and Jacob hitting down in the order. We're back to that. My dream lineup of Butler, Wilson, Soderstrom, 24, 23, and 23 is over. But that is the future. You can deny me all you want. Play it. It's early all you want. Watch, Jacob Wilson at some point will be hitting 2 full time. That's hot take Friday for you. But it's time to hear from the skipper, brought to you by Folsom Lake Ford. It's time. It's Friday. That means it's time for the Mark Kotsay Show. Now for the Mark Kotsay Show, brought to you by Folsom Lake Ford. Kots, how are you today in Milwaukee?
I'm doing well. We bust here last night after the game, and we had a little traffic, but outside of that, we got here safely, and we're at the Pfister downtown in Milwaukee, and at the ballpark early.
Trains, planes, and automobiles. I love it. The one thing I think about when the team is on the road, it's when guys can spend a lot of time with each other. When you're talking about the flights, when you're talking about buses, it's great for team bonding. So talk about these experiences, because Milwaukee and Chicago are so close. Kind of a good thing to play fantastic Chicago and have the guys all together on buses up to Milwaukee.
Yeah, it was obviously a good series in Chicago, and getting on the buses yesterday with good energy coming into Milwaukee. I mean, we know this club is playing pretty well. They probably haven't fired on all cylinders yet this season, but it was good group of guys. Just the bus ride was great. There was a lot of joy, a lot of laughter, and as you said, 2 hours in a bus can bring guys together for sure.
So when you look at, you've played a lot of tough competition. How nice was it to finish off the series? You got to learn how to win at this level. How nice was it to get that sweep in Chicago?
Yeah, it was a great day yesterday. I mean, obviously we wouldn't have been disappointed coming out of there with a series win. Those are the things that we know we have to take control of, especially against teams we feel good that we can go out and compete and win. But yesterday the start of the game, a little bit slow, a little bit less energy, and then obviously things turned our way and a couple big hits from guys. So, overall, it was a good series for us. And coming into Milwaukee, as we talked about earlier, this is a good team. We know we have our work cut out for us.
Well, talk about getting battle hardened. You've faced some really stiff competition early with the Cubs, the Padres, the Mets. You've played in some really cold weather in Colorado and now Chicago. Just talk about how that really kind of sets your team up to really be, as I said, battle hardened.
Yeah, I mean, we have had some tough conditions, and we've played some good, tough teams, all of which are above 500, I believe, Mets, Cubs, Padres. So, coming in here to Milwaukee, this team's a game above 500. They obviously won the division last year. They went to the playoffs last year. It's very similar to the group that they have. Tonight we're facing Peralta, which is a tough matchup for us. So but the early part of the season, the schedule, the conditions all can help the culture that we talk about. And these guys continually show. I mean, that game on Tuesday night in Chicago was one of the colder games we've played. And for these guys to continue to just stay focused, prepare the right way and just have that mindset that we're going to go out and win games regardless of the conditions. It's been fun to watch.
We were bringing it up yesterday. The future is now. Looking at the top of your order, Lawrence Butler, 24, Jacob Wilson, 23, Tyler Soderstrom, 23. All three of these guys, so much to talk about. Just what was the thought process with that lineup yesterday, and will we the Mark Kotsay Show, brought to you by Folsom Lake Ford. Kots, how are you today in Milwaukee?
I'm doing well. We bussed here last night after the game, and we had a little traffic, but outside of that, we got here safely, and we're at the Pfister downtown in Milwaukee, and at the ballpark early.
Trains, planes, and automobiles. I love it. The one thing I think about when the team is on the road, it's when guys can spend a lot of time with each other. When you're talking about the flights, when you're talking about buses, it's great for team bonding. So talk about these experiences, because Milwaukee and Chicago are so close. Kind of a good thing to play fantastic Chicago and have the guys all together on buses up to Milwaukee.
Yeah, it was obviously a good series in Chicago, and getting on the buses yesterday with good energy, coming into Milwaukee. I mean, we know this club. Try not to judge, the based on 50, 60 at bats. I mean, I guess that's when you start to evaluate, like if guys are struggling with the strikeout percentage, if they're not walking, but for Lawrence, if the expectation is for him to hit 300, there's only like 15 guys in the league that hit 300. So that's pretty high expectations for a guy coming off a second half of a season, not a full season. So for me, I mean, I've been overly pleased with the job Lawrence has done up there at the leadoff spot. We know how super talented he is. It's so fun, so exciting. And I think it's great we all have high expectations, but let's not put Lawrence in a category that very few hitters are in, which is, that elite 300 average, which we don't see it anymore. I mean, guys that hit 250 now, there's wow, he's hitting 250. Sweet. I mean, come on, let's be real, right?
Well, if you're worried about high expectations, get ready for Tyler Soderstrom, because he's on a record pace right now, and you can't deny it. He's got 9 home runs. You look at the OPS, you look at the above 300 average. I mean, what can you say about Tyler? Just sometimes in life, the light goes on for a young man, and it looks like that light has gone on. It's pretty special.
Yeah, it's been great to watch. You know that. You know how much I love Tyler and have been invested in Tyler since the first call-up in 23 at the end of the season. And we have a great bond, I think. I mean, you can ask him that question, but I feel like we're really connected. And to see him go out and have the start to a season, to build that confidence, I mean, ultimately, I'm very thankful that this is the start he's had. And granted, I mean, yes, like you talk about, this guy's on record pace, right? And we all know that at some point has to come back to reality. But for Tyler, the at-bats, just watching the continual plate discipline, swinging at good pitches to hit. I mean, he's lined out, shoot. In Chicago, he probably could have had 3-4 more hits, where he hit line drives right at people. Yesterday, he lined out to center. The day before, he lined out to short. He had lined out to right. So we talked about him in the beginning of the year. You guys asked who I felt might have a breakout year or who might, be someone of surprise. And Tyler's been that guy for me. And to have a guy in the middle of the order now at 23 years old, putting up numbers like he's putting up, it's pretty fun.
I mean, it's pretty easy just to ride him in the 3-hole every day, no matter who's pitching, right? Righty, lefty. It's like the way he's going. It's pretty simple.
Our lefties, and all three of them, they take good at bats against lefties. I mean, you're going to look bad occasionally on a left-handed reliever that's got, a funky arm angle, funky action, plus slider. But for the most part, when they're in there, I have just as much confidence against them against lefties than I do righties. And I think that's a compliment to the work they've put in. I think it's a compliment to how we've kind of grown them into now, being in the lineup against a left-handed starter.
And JJ Bleday started to get hot again.
JJ, yes. JJ had a tough run for, a week and a half, 2 weeks, the start of the season. Tuesday night in the dugout, I walked down to him. I mean, he was really frustrated. He lost a ball in the sky that impacted the game. He had an 0 for 4, 0 for 5 night, right? And I just walked down, I put my arm around him and said, look, man, we're barely into this thing. We're 18 games into this thing. Like 1 3 for 4 day turns your numbers right around, and you're looking up there and you're like, okay, I'm feeling good now, right? And then Wednesday, what happens? He goes 3 or 4, it's homer. And yesterday he had continuation of just that confidence, man. This game is really hard. It's really hard. And especially during the beginning of the year, when you talk about a slow start and you're looking up there and it's 189, you go through that period of 60 at-bats in the middle of your season at 350 to 450 at-bats, it's marginal. Like it's minimal. You go from 267 to 248. Oh, wow, okay, nothing. But you go from, 250 to 150 because you don't have enough at bats. And that's where you look up there at the board and you're like, man, I got to get going, Well, you got another 350, 400 at bats to go, so.
Well, and that's, everybody's got talent. And sometimes when you think, what's the job of the manager? Sometimes playing psychologist. I mean, you were in the league. You were in the league for 17 years. These are the experiences you had. You understand exactly how they're feeling. Just talk about sometimes the best thing you could do for a guy. What you did for JJ Bleday. Put your arm around him. Tell him it's going to be okay. I mean, to help guys out.
I think that's big. I think these guys need to know that I'm behind them. I think these guys need to know. Through my experiences in 17 years of a playing career that I know what they're going through. And I just, timing of messaging is everything. And, I can't say that I don't have a wizardry about when to do it. It just comes from the heart, and it comes from a place of experience, which, I'm thankful that I have. I've been blessed to be able to do this and play the game at the elite level for a long time. And, my job sitting in this seat is to make sure that these guys have confidence, to try to get them confident when they're not, because they're really freaking good. They are. And yet this game's really hard and they're going to fail.
It's like this show. Sometimes during the year, we feel like we got to put our arm around you, Kots. No one is ever helping you out. We feel like we got to help you out because no one's ever there for you. You got to do it for everybody else.
I've got a great staff. I do. But, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's definitely times when I beat myself up and, I do try to stay off social because I get beat up enough probably on social. So, I limit that exposure. I generally, only do things to promote events. Like I just posted something on my Instagram about a great concert called Cure for Curebound, which is a great organization down in San Diego, through immunotherapy treatments for cancer. And as you guys know, we're all in this battle with our our hitting coach, Mike Aldretti, with his wife, Gina, going through it. She's a fighter and she's been amazing and inspiration and strength for us as a group. So just wanted to mention that. I don't know why it came up, but she's battling right now.
No doubt. Thoughts and prayers. All right, Kots, appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week. The Mark Kotsay Show brought to you by Folsom Lake Ford. Go get them in Milwaukee, and we'll see you back in West Sacramento.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.